Myself, Ayan, I will be the trainer for this course. I have total 8.5 years of experience working across multiple technologies, namely routing, switching, wireless, and SD-WAN. Okay, so let me take you all to the course content. I mean, what are the topics that we are going to cover in this course? So this course will be Cisco Viptela SD-WAN solution, and the code for this course is 300415 ENSDWI. Okay, so in this particular course, we will be discussing about the architecture. There are there are three main important controllers in this SD-WAN architecture. One is vBond, other one is vManage, third one is vSmart, and the fourth important factor is the data plane, which is the WAN routers. So we will be talking about the use of each and every controller and the routers. When I talk about the controller deployment, 90% of the clients are hosting their controllers on cloud, but we will not be limiting this course to only cloud deployment. We will also be covering on-prem deployment. Let's say if you have any client that is hosting their controllers on-prem, so you will be covered with the on-prem deployment as well in this particular course. But most of them are using the controllers that are hosted on the cloud. And the on-prem deployment will also be in either on the KVM or the hypervisor. We will be discussing about how to install your controllers on the hypervisor right from the beginning. Apart from that, certificate is one of the important aspect in any of the devices. So, and similarly with SD-WAN as well, the certificates are one of the important factor, and we will be discussing about the certificates in pretty much detail. When I talk about router deployment in this particular course, we will be discussing about the router deployment right from day zero configuration, wherein we will be covering what exactly needs to be done after purchasing the router to onboard it to the SD-WAN fabric, how to configure it, how to apply policies on it, and how to have redundancy with these routers. So in SD-WAN, there are two types of redundancies with respect to the router deployment. The first one is TLOC extension, and the other one is VRRP. We will be covering both of them in pretty much detail. Apart from that, OMP is one of the important factor in SD-WAN fabric, wherein the router and the controllers communicate between each other using OMP protocol. So we will be discussing about the OMP protocol in detail. Templates are used for configuring all the controllers and the routers. So there are multiple types of feature templates and the device templates that we will be covering in this course in detail. Apart from that, we will also be discussing about the policies in this SD-WAN course. So basically, there are two types of policies. So in SD-WAN, there are two types of policies. One is centralized policy, and the other one is localized policy. Centralized policy is divided into two parts: centralized control plane policy and the centralized data plane policy. Similarly, localized policy is also divided into two aspects. One is localized control plane policy, and the other one is localized data policy. We will be discussing about these policies in detail, where to apply this centralized control policy and what can be achieved with this policy. Similarly, where to apply centralized data policy and what can be achieved using this policy. Again, we will be discussing about the localized policy, where and how to apply the control plane policy and what are the uses and what can be achieved by applying these policies. So policy and templates, these are two important factors when we talk about SD-WAN. With policies, we will be able to achieve application aware routing and direct internet access. When I talk about application aware routing and direct internet access, these two features are used by each and every client who is having SD-WAN technology, who is using SD-WAN technology in their network. So these are the two important factors. Apart from this, there are other used cases as well that are not being used in the industry, but it is very much important for you all to have an idea, a brief idea, an in-depth idea about it. So we will be discussing other used cases as well. So in this particular course, we will be using approximately around 8 to 10 used cases. So when I talk about security with respect to SD-WAN, there are service chaining, which is service insertion, service chaining, which is one of the important aspect when it comes to when we talk about security. So we will be discussing about that as well. Apart from that, quality of service is yet another an important aspect when we talk delivering uh, uh, about delivering the network protocols. So we will be discussing about the quality of services, wherein we will be covering scheduling, queuing, shaping, and policing. So we will be covering about this in very much detail in this particular course. Apart from that, we will also be covering the entire GUI of vManage, under which tab, what options we will get, and what are the uses of uh, those options. So right from the monitoring and reporting to configuring and troubleshooting software upgrade, we will be covering it in very much detail. So after completing this particular course, you will be ready to configure SD-WAN from day zero configuration, and you will be ready to have do the operations perspective of the SD-WAN. So in this course, we will discuss what exactly needs to be done when we purchase SD-WAN controllers and SD-WAN routers, how to configure it from the scratch, and configure it using templates and push policies to it and make it working in the SD-WAN fabric. So this is how this is pretty much in depth that we are going to cover. When I talk about Cisco SD-WAN labs, we will be configuring each and every WAN components and deploying the certificates on it as well. So when I talk about vManage, vBond, and vSmart, initially we will configure them via CLI so that you all have the CLI base covered. And apart from that, we will also configure it via GUI. So if need be, you will be able to configure each of the controllers and the routers via CLI as well as with the graphical user interface. We will be discussing about the templates which are used for configuration of each and every devices in the SD-WAN fabric. Be it routers or the controllers, templates is what we are going to use to configure these devices. So there are multiple feature templates. If I have to name a few, there is system feature template, banner template, VPN templates. So we will be discussing about each and every feature templates that are being used in very much detail. When I talk about configuring policies, hub and spoke is one of the important policy that is being used by the clients. So we will be covering about this topology in detail during our lab sessions. We will also be looking not just with the practical, we will also be looking the theory part of each and every use cases, so that when you'll get into the interview rounds, you have theory part covered as well as the practical parts. So we will also be looking out what exactly the traffic engineering can be done using the policies, how we can do the route filtering if we want a specific route to be filtered and not to be reached to the hub sites or to any of the spoke sites. How do we filter it? We will be covering that in detail. Apart from that, we will be checking how do we do net on the edge routers, how do we do load balancing and software upgrades on each and every edge routers as well as on the controllers. So this is the course content about the SD-WAN Viptela course. So if I have to take you all, walk you all through with the topology that we are going to use.
Hey, Ayan.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, please make me the co-host so that I will share all the links in the chat.
Oh yeah, I'll share,
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I'll share that. Yeah, I've already shared it, Muskan now.
Make me co-host.
Okay.
Okay.
You should be the co-host now, Muskan. So this is the lab that we are going to use for practicing our lab contents and configuration. So this will be the controllers that are hosted on the cloud. This is going to be the hub site, the data center site is what we call. This will be the spoke sites. All these three will be the spoke sites. Okay. Apart from that, each WAN edge routers will have two WAN links, one towards MPLS and other one towards internet. One towards internet and the other one towards MPLS. Similarly, in each of the hub and spoke sites, we will be having two MPLS, two links. One is MPLS and the other one is internet. During this lab session, you will be configuring each and every routers that you see in this lab. So this is how in depth we will be doing the configuration and the policies and the troubleshooting. So when I talk about the controllers as well, you will be configuring each and every controllers that you see over here, each and every MPLS or internet routers. And here we have a firewall that we will be using for security service chaining labs. We have our Linux over here that we will be using to access vManage via graphical user interface. We will be hosting this entire lab on Google Cloud platform, where you all can also host it on the GCP. I will be giving you all the required images and this entire lab so that you all can host it on GCP and use it. So once you all host this lab onto GCP, you will get a 3 months period to use this lab and do the practices. Once 3 months are completed, you can again create a new lab and use it for yet another 3 months. So this is the lab. So each and every lectures will be live as well as recorded. You will be getting the recorded videos on this particular link. I have already shared the link. You'll be getting we will be hosting yet another course over here, and under that you will be getting the recorded links, recorded videos, and those videos will be available for you all for lifetime. Okay, apart from that, there are other two YouTube channels, of the link of which I've already shared in the chat. So apart from the SD-WAN technology, there are other networking aspects or networking technologies, namely F5, security, Palo Alto Panorama. You will get multiple videos about these technologies on this both the YouTube links. Apart from that, there are other courses as well on learn.cianets.com, wherein you all can head and check the available courses and purchase as per your future goals. So there are Azure network and security course as well, and there are many more. So this course will be, we will be starting this course from 18th January 2025, and the timings for this course will be 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. IST on weekends. So we will be doing our lectures on Saturdays and Sundays between 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. We will be needing 12 to 14 lectures, 12 to 14 weekends to cover this lecture. So that will be around 24 to 28 lectures. The fees for this course is 10,000 INR for Indian students and 150 US dollars for international students. So moving to the lecture, I will be covering about the legacy and the no SD-WAN device, the difference between the legacy and the SD-WAN device, the control plane connections,
Hello,
and the
hello, sir. Hello, hello.
Ian, you can mute everyone.
I want to ask.
So I've muted everyone. If you all have any queries, you can paste it on the chat. Apart from that, once we complete the demo lecture, we will be having a Q&A sessions where you all can put your questions, and then we will be answering all your questions. Okay, so in this demo lecture, we will be discussing about what SD-WAN is, the difference between the legacy and the SD-WAN devices, and the control plane connections. Okay, so when I talk about SD-WAN, SD-WAN stands for Software Defined Wide Area Network. Just like we have wireless controllers to manage access points, the DNAC to manage multiple Cisco Catalyst switches, we have SD-WAN to manage multiple WAN edge routers. Okay, so let's say we will be managing these routers with these three controllers. So there are three controllers that we use to manage the routers. One is vManage, the other one is vSmart, and the third one is vBond. So the difference between the legacy non-SD-WAN device and the SD-WAN device is each of the router has three planes, namely management plane, control plane, and the data plane. Let's say I have a router, I have a laptop over here. Okay. And using this laptop, I want to SSH into this router. So all these SSH packets, all the telnet packets, all the HTTPS packets that are destined for this router to access via GUI is managed by management plane. So telnet, SSH, and HTTPS, HTTP package to access the router are managed by management plane. So when I talk about control plane, let's say I have a router over here. Okay, and this router is connected with this router via OSPF. So any packets, so both these routers will share hello packets to form neighbor relationship. Apart from that, they will also share LSA packets, LSDB packets between each other to form their topology. So these packets are mainly handled by control plane. Apart from that, let's say if there is EIGRP or any other routing protocols that is being run between these two routers, all the packets about EIGRP, BGP are handled by control plane. So these control plane earlier used to management plane and the control plane earlier used to reside on the router itself. With SD-WAN, the management plane has been removed and put it onto the vManage. The control plane has been removed and put it onto the vSmart, and the data plane resides on the router. Now, in order to get this vManage management plane and the control plane information from the router, these router needs to form a DTLS tunnel with these controllers so that they can get the management plane and the control plane information in a secure way so that the network can be functional. But before getting these details, this router needs to be added into the SD-WAN fabric. In order for this router to get added into the SD-WAN fabric, it first needs to authenticate itself with the vBond. As I said, vBond is the authenticator of the entire SD-WAN fabric. No matter which device in the SD-WAN fabric, it has to be authenticated with the authenticator first. Be it vManage or the vSmart, each and every device that has to be added on the SD-WAN fabric should be authenticated with the vBond. Now, in order this router to reach vBond, it has to have some sort of configuration so that it can know where and how to reach vBond. So these are the minimum configuration that are required for us to do on this particular router so that it can know how to reach vBond. So these are the minimum configuration that is required to be done on the router, wherein we will give site ID, system ID, vBond IP, which is one of the very important configuration on the router so that it can know how to reach the vBond. Organization name, certificate, VPN 0 and VPN 512 configuration. This is the minimum configuration that is required on the router. Once we have did this minimum configuration on the router, it will authenticate itself to the vBond using both the WAN interfaces. Let's say I have two WAN interfaces. If I have to head over to our topology, here we have two WAN interfaces, one via MPLS and other one via internet. So it will authenticate itself to vBond using both the interfaces. Once it has authenticated itself, the role of the vBond is to give the vManager and the vSmart IP details to the VNedge router so that it can know, the VNedge routers can know how and where to reach vBond, vSmart and vManages. So the role over here of vBond in the SD-WAN fabric is to authenticate the router and give them the details of vSmart and vManage. And once it has provided the details of vSmart and vManage, it will tear down the connection. Now, router will reach vManage. It will authenticate to vManage and form a DTLS connection, a DTLS tunnel. Under that tunnel, the role of the vManage is to push the configuration of this router Apart from that it will use netconf protocol TCP 830 to push the router, push the configuration on the router. Apart from that, since it is the management plane, it will also manage, it will also have a tab of health of the router. It will also check for the liveliness of this router. It will check the health of this router using SNMP protocol on port UDP 161 and 162. Once it has received the configuration, router will also authenticate itself with the vSmart. Authenticating itself with the vSmart will push the policies configuration and the OMP details that it has received from other branches. It will give the policies information to the router and the routes to reach the other branches. So let's say okay, let's say we have this branch router over here, and here is a vmanage. After authenticating this branch router to the vbond, it will get the vmanage and vsmart ip. It will form one single DTLS connection with the vmanage, no matter how many ISP links it has. With vbond that was not the case. It will authenticate using the number of WAN links and it will tear down the connection. But with vmanage it will only have one DTLS connection. Apart from that, it will have two DTLS connection with vSmart, since it has two WAN links, one with MPLS and the other one with internet. Now, all these controllers will share the details, the configuration and the policy details under a tunnel. So this is how the tunnel looks like. The WAN edge and the controller will form a tunnel after authenticating with each other, and under that tunnel it will share all the details. So even if there is a hacker on the network that has compromised this network, he will not be able to decrypt what the data is being shared between these two devices. So here is our lab. Whatever we have discussed, let's check that in the lab as well. So this is our branch router. So as I said, there is minimum configuration that is required on the WAN edge router. So here's the system IP that is required. Here is the site ID. Here is the vbond ID. And here is the organization name. Apart from this, we also need to have certificate installed on this router so that it can present its certificate, so that its authenticity can be checked. So here is the certificate that is installed on this particular router. Here is the public key information about the certificate and the other details. Apart from this, it will also need the interface configuration, which we will get to see over here. Once we have all these configured, this router will authenticate with the VBond first using both the links MPLS as well as internet. VBond will give the vManage and vSmart details once it is authenticated and tear down the connection. This router will then form a DTLS tunnel with vManage. vManage will push the configuration on the router and the centralized policies via netconf protocol 830. Then this router will yet again authenticate with the vSmart using both the connections, both the links. And then vSmart, after authenticating, it will push the policies to the VNage router. Okay, so let's do a quick packet capture and see whatever we have discussed is true or not. Okay, as of now, we can see there is no control connections from this router to any of the controllers. It is just starting to form a connection with the vBond using both the links. One is internet and the other one is MPLS. So here we have two links, one with the MPLS and the other one is with internet. As I said, it will try to form a connection using both the links, authenticate with the vBond, and once it is authenticated, it will tear down the connection. So let's see what happens next. Okay. Now it has authenticated with the vBond. And after authenticating, it has teared down the connection. We do not see any connections with the vBond as of now. See, in the SD-WAN show control connection, there is no connection with the vBond, but we have four connections with vSmart and one with the vManage. We have four connections with the vSmart because there are two vSmarts over here and we have two links. So this edge router will form a connection with each of the vSmart using both the links, one with the MPLS and other one with the internet. One with the internet, other one with the MPLS. Similarly, with vSmart 2, one with internet and the other one with MPLS. And only one connection with the vManage. And if we do show control connections history, we will see that the status with the vBond is in tier down state, meaning it has authenticated, the VNage router has authenticated with the vBond, shared the required details, and this tunnel is not required anymore. So it has tiered down the state. We can see the meaning of this state over here as well. So here are the meanings. of whatever state we have. So let's stop the packet capture. And verify the packet captures. 10.110.1.13 is the IP address of our vSmart. So let's see what exactly the communication between the WAN edge router and the vSmart was. So 10.6.10.60.1.1 is the IP address of the vManage interface, vEdge interface over here. 10.60.1.1. If I do 10.60.1.1 is the interface GE001 configuration on the branch Dubai router. So let's see what exactly has happened between them. So the WAN edge router has initiated the connection with the vSmart over DTLS using UDP protocol. Okay. Now let's explore this packet. What exactly the information do we have? Okay. So here is the source IP, which is of the branch Dubai router, destination IP of the vSmart. This communication is being done on source port 12406 and 12346. And this packet is hello packet. These are the hello and the hello verify packets that is being shared between the vSmart and the WAN edge router. Once this hello packets has been shared, vSmart is sharing its certificate to the WAN edge router. Now WAN edge router will check whether this certificate is authentic or not. Once it is authenticate, once it decides the authenticity of the certificate, it will share its own certificate with the vSmart. Now, vSmart will explore this certificate and check what exactly the details are there in it. So vSmart will verify whether the organization name is right or not, whether the serial number is authentic or on this WAN edge router or not before providing the configuration to this WAN edge router. So let's see what details do we have in this particular certificate. So in this certificate, we will see okay, so here we will see the serial number of this certificate, the organization name, which is Sianets, the one which we had configured over here. Okay, here we can see that the organization name is Sianets, and in the certificate itself, it is representing its organization name. Apart from that, it will also provide its serial number, which is this. Here is the serial number of the WAN edge router and other necessary information that we have already viewed over here. Show certificate. So this is the certificate that this is the similar certificate that we are viewing in the packet capture. Once this authentication is done, we can see there is application packet being sent from the vSmart to the WAN edge router. And when we try to decrypt what exactly is present in that packet, we will not be able to do it because this entire packet will be decrypted under the tunnel. So this is how the communication between the vSmart and the vManage happens. And once the communication is done, the application data, the configuration, the policies, and other important things are pushed from the tunnel itself. Similarly, if we check for the vManage IP, we will get similar information. And for the vSmart 2 as well, we will get similar information. The client hello packets, hello verify packets. So this entire process is being done between the WAN edge router and all the controllers. And if we see for this interface as well, we will see that it is authenticating with the vBond first, then with the vManage, and then with the vSmart. And when we check about the application data, it will all be encrypted. So let's see the current state now. Okay, there are still 4 connections. Let's head to the vManage graphical user interface and see the vManage GUI. Ten 110.1.10 is the IP address of the vManage. So this is the main page, the main dashboard of vManage. We can see that it is displaying the state of vSmart. It is displaying the state of WAN edge router. It is displaying the state of vBond. It is showing how many connections are disconnected, how many connections are in partial state, how many control connections are up. It also shows if there is any health related concerns with the WAN edge router. So this is the entire main dashboard of vManage graphical user interface. Apart from that, when we go to configuration and devices, we can see how many devices that we have live in our lab. So as of now, we have only 2 devices that is live in our two managed router that is live in a lab. One is BR Dubai and branch London. So here is you can see about those devices. Apart from that, you can also view how many controllers that you have. So in our case, we have two vSmart controllers, one vBond and one vManage. So here you will be able to see about the controllers view. Apart from that, here is the templates. I have configured few feature templates. I will be starting from this from scratch once we begin the course. So these are the feature templates. We can add feature templates from here depending on the requirement, depending upon the device model. No matter what device model you take, vManage will take care about it. So here are the device templates that we actually push on the device. So if we see from here, this is the device template for branch Dubai router. We have created this device template using 18 feature templates, and it has been attached to only one device. And if you want to see which device it is, you can just click on this and it will give you the detail about the device on which this particular template is configured. These are the policies. From here, we can create centralized policy and the localized policy that I was talking about. As of now, there is no policies configured on this lab. I will be covering about the policies once we begin the actual course. Moreover, we can go to network and take the SSH or access of these devices. So if I click on BR Dubai, the branch Dubai router, we will get the entire detail over here about this. So we can, whatever commands that we put on the CLI, we can do that from the GUI as well from here. So if I have to check about the control connections, I can go to the monitor network and real time, and I will get the entire detail over here. This is similar to what we did. So this is similar to what we were doing with the CLI. So when I did show control connections in the CLI, it was giving us the vSmart details that there are 4 tunnels with the vSmart and 1 with the vManage. Similar output we are getting over here. It is being done. The tunnel is formed using the DTLS protocol, and here are the IP addresses and the ports that are being used for this to forming this particular tunnel. Apart from that, we can also perform certain troubleshooting from this from the vManage itself. So we are into BR Dubai router, and from here we can ping, we can do the trace out, we can simulate the traffic, we can check the health of the tunnel of this particular BR Dubai router. So for example, let me show you all a quick glimpse of it. So if I have to ping using this BR Dubai router, let's say if I have to ping my vManage, I can select the options using which VPN do I have to use. Over here, I can select the interface from which I want to ping it. Which probes do I want to send? If I have to mention any source port or the destination port, if I have to put the packet count, we can do it from here. Specific MTU size, let's say 1480, and initiate the ping. So here is the response. We have transmitted 30 packets. We have received the packet loss. So this is how it shows us about, I mean, we can do the ping and trace. We can read the output from here as well. So vManage is responsible for managing the management plane of the routers. So this is what the management plane does. We can do entire configuration and troubleshooting right from the vManage of any of the branches. If I have to do a trace route, I can do the traces from here. We can give the IP address, advanced options are available, what size, which interface to use. So this is about the vManage GUI, and there are other important other tabs as well that we will be covering during the course. So from here we can take the SSH access of the device. We do not need to go and put the IP address of each and every device. Simply head to the tools and SSH terminals, log in, and we will get the access. There you go. We can get the output from here as well. So this is pretty much all about that what I wanted to cover in today's lecture. If you all have any further queries, you all can put it ahead. I'll be unmuting you all. Okay, now you all can unmute yourself, and if you all have any other questions, you all can ask.
Morning. Sorry, this is afternoon for you guys. I just want to ask, how will you help to preparing the lab in Google environment? You will provide the images, but to prepare the lab, like is there any video from you, or you will help to set up the lab? Thank you.
I will cover it right from the scratch. I will be doing the GCP lab configuration in the live lecture. You will be getting those videos, and using that video, you all can set up your own lab. Apart from that, if you have any trouble setting up the lab, we will be we will be helping you with it. And we will also be providing the images and the lab topology to you all. So from the lab perspective, you all have got it all covered. Hope that answers your query.
Yep, thank you. Any once you will cover the training session in the lab, everything, is there any help to prepare the interviews? Usually other guys do that. Just a question. Thank you.
Yeah. So I will be providing you all the theory notes as well. I have prepared theory notes. So whatever that we are going to cover during the lecture, you all will be getting these notes. And if you all cover these notes religiously, you all will be able to crack the interviews as well. So, and apart from that, if you all need any consultancy with respect to, let's say you all have an interview scheduled, and if you all want to have a demo interview, yes, that can be done on in case there are free slots available.
Thank you so much. That's all from my end. Thank you.
No problem.
Hi, I'm Hitler here. Do you have Cisco images as well? Only we are using Viptela here.
We have Cisco images as well. So here, if you see, we have CSR router as well. So we will be doing that as well.
Okay, so on the vManage side, are we using Viptela or Cisco? Are we able to use Cisco as well on the vManage side? Or?
Yes, we will be able to use Cisco.
Cisco for the V8 and vManage both end.
Yes.
Thank you.
So you will be covering that as well, like Cisco iOS as well, or only the Viptela iOS?
So here we have Cisco iOS as well. So if the operations of the VH and the CH is similar, only the command line interface differs a bit. So yes, if time permits, we will be covering the CSR as well, Cisco Edge routers as well.
Okay.
Anyone else has any queries?
Hello.
Is there any scenario-based troubleshooting, like you create some problems and then help us to show us how the troubleshooting will be like if there are no certificate exists, like some what type of the problem usually happen with the association of VH to vManage, vSmart. So is there are any troubleshooting sessions?
Yes, so during the configuration of the policies, we will be creating those scenarios and replicate the issue and fix it during the configuration itself. So we will miss certain parts, and then I will let you all know what exactly went wrong and what exactly to check scenarios and how to fix it.
So I appreciate everything will be in the live video and the recording. So, but there are any notes or any the diagram you prepared or all your presentation will be shared with us?
Yes, we will be providing you the notes. So as I showed you all, this I have these notes available in the Word format as well. So either in the Notepad format or in the Word format, you will be getting it. So there are other images as well for topics. Yes, I will share those images as well. So if you see over here, there are images. Let's see my screen, right?
Yeah, that's exactly I mean. But whatever you are showing during the session training, we, are we getting all this info?
Yes, you'll get these images on the other end. If you all need, you all can have a quick screenshot of it. So that you'll have all these diagrams.
Thank you. That's all from my end. Please carry on. Thank
No problem. Anyone else has any queries?
Yeah. Hi, Ian. We have to do the initial configuration, right? From the vanity router, like system ID and all.
Yes. So this is the minimum configuration that is required, and there are three ways this minimum configurations that can be done. One is manually, one via PNP, and the other one is via bootstrap configuration. So we will be covering those three methods in the course.
So the TP means we no need to configure anything.
No. So this router itself will reach to device.cisco.com, provide its serial number and the certificate. As I showed you all that each router has these certificates, and under this certificate, each of
Yeah,
them.
I'm sorry. You can just stop now. It's Q&A session, right? Which is going on.
Okay.